What's up, everyone? So we're just going to do a quick little video here. This might be the first video some of you have seen here. Just a clear marble. Really good for beginner stuff. Just establishing some fundamentals. Clear marbles can be super easy, but they can also be challenging. We really want to refine just a nice, clear, simple marble, so we're just going to make a quick video on that. So the 3 pieces of glass you might use for a clear marble could be anything from 8 mil, a piece of 10 mil, and I got a piece of 12 mil here. You know, something about the size of a dime. A piece of 8 mil works fine. Nickel, the quarter size. A piece of 10 mil, it's probably about the most common one for marble. A little bit, anything bigger than a quarter, you know, I would kind of recommend going to some 12 mil maybe. The reasons you want larger rocks for larger marbles is just basically control. It's a lot easier to control a quarter size marble on a piece of 12 versus having that same big dollop of glass off a piece of 10. It'll get real wobbly. If you're having problems with marbles wobbling a lot, you might just need to get a bigger rock with. Got a few basic mark pads over here. So there's a big block style one, there's a bigger handheld one, and one that a lot of you probably be using just a smaller handheld one. They're all basically the same thing. Some of the hole sizes might vary just a little bit, but kind of select whatever one you need. I like to use these, so let's tap this out. The only other pieces of glass that I have is a couple pieces of 6 mil for some punties. You can also use 5 mil for this, would work fine. I like 6. So that being said, we'll just kind of get into it. I'm just going to start with just a small dime size one on some 8 mil. So first thing I always want to do, especially if you have a broken end, but even if you have an end like this, is just get down some clean glass. I'm just going to heat this up. Peel it off if you don't want any boils or blemishes to start with. Get down to some nice fresh glass to work with. Careful not to boil any of the glass when you peel ends off. So marbles they're real simple. It's just a balance of heat and gravity. Just always keep in mind, you know, if you tilt it back, it's going to gather and it's going to get wide really quick. It might start turning into a mushroom cap. If you're tipping it this way, it's going to elongate, start turning into an egg. As you build the marble up, you're going to need to tip it back, and you're going to need to bite into the glass behind the marble a bit, so it can build up on itself a bit. See, I'm just constantly kind of biting a little bit of glass, maybe a 1/4 inch of the glass behind the marble, until I build up whatever it is size I'm looking for. So I'm just going to do something about the size of the dime for this one. You know, and if you want just a really small marble, something the size of a dime, you definitely want to use a smaller rod. It's going to be hard to get a dime-sized marble off of a piece of 12 mil. So once I think I got the material built, I'm going to quit letting it build up, and then I'm going to balance it out. And once you get to this point, you only really need to keep about the front half of the marble warm. The rest of the heat's gonna work its way to the back, and there'll be enough there for it to round itself off. But if you're biting too much of the marble, your flame's gonna keep splashing the rod, and it's gonna start wobbling back and forth because you keep getting that thin glass right behind the marble too warm. Just kind of focus the flame on just the front half of the marble. And then when you're ready to use the pad, the general rule is you always want to use the hole that's one size smaller than the marble you got. That's too big for this size. You're going to want to use this smaller. And the reason for that is you're using this upper rim to help you get it round. You're not using the deep part of the mold. All you need is that upper rim, so go one size smaller. The glass, once this cools off, and we go to heat it up, it's going to heat up from the outside in. When it's cooling off, it does the opposite. So once it's heated up all the way through and I come out, it's going to develop what we call a shell on there. So the outside's going to get hard, but the inside is still malleable. And right after it catches the shell, that's where you want to use this. I'm just going to do a demo really quick, but if you come out too quick and you try to marve, you're going to get all these weird little dents and wrinkles, and that's not good. You got to let it get a little bit of a shell on it. And really, just with the gravity and the torch, you should be able to get 90–95% of it round just with the flame. You're keeping it nice and balanced, getting a good even heat. It'll figure it out. It wants to be round and smooth. So once it gets to this point, I'm going to give it a few seconds, let it get that shell before I use this pad. Still want the inside just a little soft when I get in here, but not the outside. I'll kind of start on the side a bit, work my way up, and just come right back down again. I'm really only worried about the front half of this being nice and round. And that looks pretty good. And anytime you use this, it's a good idea. Let the marble cool off a bit. Just come back in, do what's called a fire polish really quick. Just let the flame hit the surface, just relax everything. It's nice and clean. I'm going to use my piece of 6mm. I like to get the broken ends off of these too. You're not looking to weld it. You get too hot, you stick it, well, you're going to have to peel it off again because you welded it too much. This marble needs to be hot, but not glowing. Put just a little bit of heat in there. And let this get a nice shell on it. Over here, I'm going to shoot for almost white hot. And from white hot, I'm going to come out, give it about 3 seconds. Tap it down. If it's not straight, it's okay. Use this pad a lot to help you out. I'm just trying to hold on to it so I can get the other side done. As you can see where I got the flame, I'm not hitting the marble. Hitting that thin glass right behind it. Get that away, then I'm going to have a little dunce cap I need to get rid of. There's a few different ways to get rid of that. You can use your tweezers. That hot, peel it off. You just don't want to get your tweezers too hot. You can also use just a piece of glass. And a simple rule for peeling that off and keeping your nice marble in there is only heat up what you want to move. If it's cool and it's stiff, it's not going to move. If it's hot and it's red, you can peel it away. So just get that little cap red. I'll just do this little thing. I'll just dive in with the 6mm and just kind of keep rolling and twisting it away until I can just kind of see that marble coming around. Even more important here, it's the small flame, but I'll only heat up the front half of it. Don't get the back warm, it's going to start welding to your bunty. You don't want that. So just from about the middle out. I'm just going to work with gravity for a minute here. Try to do the work. It works pretty close.
Damn crunchy, what you got?
Wait it out for a few more seconds. Not in a big hurry to get in there. And just do the same thing as before. Always come back with a fire polish. Anytime you use a tool or a graphite pad, always just take a second, come back, quick little polish. Now we're going to knock this off of here, but we'll let some of that red let go.
Then why do they call kettle chips chips?
Okay, so after we get our punny off like that, I don't know if you want to zoom in a little bit here, but you usually get what we call a punty mark. Hopefully if you did your cold seal right, it should just be just a small little scar. So after we do that, we need to get rid of that. It's kind of nice with these torches. You have the handle here, just kind of dip under the torch. We just want to be gentle. Just brush it out of there. If you hit it with too much heat, you're going to start making like a little weird flat spot. We don't want to do that. So just kind of heat up around it, be real gentle. Got us just a nice little, kind of a little smaller than a dime. Just a nice, clean little marble. Outside the count, I'm going to do just one more really quick. I'm going to do it with some 12 mil. Again, I got that broken side here. I want to get that out of there. Again, I'm just going to start heating this rod up, keep it tipped back, just start gathering some glass up. You got to keep getting behind it though, getting some of that fresh rod. You can't just sit in the same spot again and expect it to build up. Doesn't have to start out round back there. Just start getting your material built up. We'll worry about round next. While I'm getting this rounded off, we can talk about these again really quick too. That this isn't a tool for really rounding the glass off. That tool is your torch. You should just be able to use the flame to get to 95, 98% round with the marble. This is a finishing tool, just to kind of help us with that last little bit to just really make sure it's truly round. Kind of remember that with your pads. It's just a finishing tool. They're not meant to get the marble round for you. You got to get it round. They'll help you get it finished off so it's precisely round. So I'm getting one built up here, roughly about the size of a nickel now. Might bite just a little bit more. So yeah, bigger the marble, bigger the rod you want to be starting with. It's a lot easier to keep control of what you're doing. Even a marble this size off the little piece of 10 mil that I was using before is a lot of glass to try to balance off of a small handle like that. So it looks like I'm pretty close here. I'm not too super concerned with the back side. It's just the front half of it I'm focused on right now. Again, it's super hot right now. Come out of the flame, give it a few seconds. The bigger the marble, the more time you need to give it. Small ones, maybe 3 to 5 seconds. A bigger one, 5, 6, 7 seconds, somewhere in that range. So you got a nice shell on it. If it seems to be spinning a little crooked down here too, it's a good time to roll it up high and then kind of push on it a little bit. That'll help center it out. So I was able to get that centered there. Now that half looks pretty good. I'm gonna come back just to a quick little fire polish. Sometimes you can get the smallest ripples from using the marbling pad. Sometimes they're hard to see until the next day. Then you'll be mad because you got a little wrinkle in it. But you always come back to fire polish. You'll be able to avoid that. So again, I still got a good amount of heat in here, but it's nice and solidified. Get this putty almost white hot. Dip out by 1, 2, 3 seconds. Just a light tap. You should be able to see kind of what we call a butt right through there, where it's just kind of wrinkled up. Again, don't heat your marble up, heat your putty up from here. We're going to peel the putty away from the marble. Just like I did before, I like to use a little piece of glass. I'm just going to heat up that little dunce cap. I don't want any red coming down into the marble. I'm going to start peeling the marble away. Just want that little cap to be red, almost white. I can just easily jump in there, peel that away, just let that nice marble come to life. Again, don't overheat the marble from here. You don't want to be hitting your putty. Just about a third to a half. That's all you need to heat up. True round, like you're gonna need to get the glass pretty much hot to the core. You don't want to just give it a little bit of surface heat and then force the rest of this. Just get it nice and hot, just on the end. Let it relax down under the surface as well. It's nice and close. Again, we'll just kind of wait it out for a few seconds. Come down nice and gentle. Not applying much pressure at all, just kind of the weight of the marble, just spinning it through. Again, always come back, quick fire polish. Fire polish, you're not putting that deep heat in there. We're not trying to reshape it or anything, just quick surface heat. So any wrinkles, anything on the surface, relax. Let this cool off, get a good shell. I'll just lay it down on there. You should just be able to get a simple tap. That one I can't even barely see. Might be just a little bit of a mark there. Those are the best ones to get. You can pop those off and you can't even hardly see a mark. But don't always just assume just because you can't hardly see one, there's not something there you might be able to feel. Just give it a light little brush with the flame in that spot. Again, just let it cool off for a second here. You don't want to throw it in the kiln too fast. Nothing too crazy, just some quick soft heat. That's all there is to it. Just nice, clean, clear marbles.